Hi, everybody. So, this week I wanted to talk a little bit about antisocial personality disorder, which most people know it as sociopathy or being a sociopath. I know it's something that in it's not uncommon to hear it in these really big court cases. So court cases like Ted Bundy, Charles Manson, those sort of court cases where there's a lot of publicity, a lot of media, um, and not everybody really understands what being a sociopath is. So I wanted to break it down a little bit for the people that may not really understand it. So sociopathy, it's a mental disorder where a person has no real regard for right or wrong. Um, they may not really understand what right and wrong is. They don't understand it. And because of that, um, they tend to ignore the rights and feelings of the people that surround them, the people in their life. Um, and people with antisocial personality disorder tend to antagonize, manipulate, and treat other people very, very harshly or with kind of a callous indifference. Um, and no matter how they're behaving, whether they're really treating people harshly or whether they're breaking the law or something like that, they really have no remorse over it. And part of that stemming from the fact that they don't necessarily fully understand that what they're doing is wrong. Um, and it's not uncommon for people um, that are sociopaths to break the law. It's not uncommon. Um, and part of this is they it's not it's they become notorious liars, um and they are also known to behave very violently and uh very impulsively, and unfortunately many of them have issues with drug and alcohol addiction, and that's just kind of a very brief kind of what sort of people are these guys that have sociopathy. And because of some of the things that they deal with, because of their like lack of understanding of right and wrong, and how they're treating people is not necessarily a good way to treat people, they don't do well with filling the responsibilities of related to family, friends, and work. Um, it just they just don't really feel the need to. Um, some of the symptoms of somebody being a sociopath or having antisocial personality disorder, um, they really have a disregard for right and wrong, and they may not completely understand right and wrong. It doesn't click with them that something they're doing is wrong. But if they do understand it, they're notorious for disregarding it, because they don't really care if it's right or wrong. They just want to do it. Um, they're very persistent liars. So even if they consistently get caught in a lie, they're just going to keep lying to you. And they're going to be very disrespectful about it too. They're very callous. They're very cynical and disrespectful, really, no matter who you are. And so I'm going to use the example of Ted Bundy for this next one. Ted Bundy was known for being a charmer. That's how he was able to get people to feel like they were helping him. He charmed his way into convincing them to help him. He's kind of a notorious case of being a sociopath. There was some understanding of right and wrong, but he completely disregarded it. He was a big liar. He had the charm. He was very arrogant. Um, there's a sense of superiority over everybody around them. Like, I can do no wrong, and I'm superior to you in every way, no matter if you have the education, the experience above me, I'm still superior to you. And it's also not uncommon for them to have run-ins with the law, multiple run-ins with law enforcement or having issues with the law. Again, kind of stemming back to the disregard for right and wrong. They are very impulsive. They don't really plan ahead anything, just because they don't see the need to. And they're very hostile. They can become very aggressive, very agitated, very violent, kind of like a flick of a switch. It is not something, again, that's not uncommon for people with antisocial personality disorder. It's also not uncommon for people with sociopathy to take very unnecessary risks, and that also kind of plays into they don't really plan ahead. So if they're going to do something, they don't really weigh the risks versus the benefits. They're just like gung-ho, okay, I'm going to do this. This is how it's going to go. And then they just kind of do it no matter what. They also have it's not uncommon for them to be very abusive towards their partner if they do have those interpersonal relationships, if they're able to develop those. And they're very consistently irresponsible, and they consistently fail to fulfill work or financial obligations just because they're not weighing the risks of, oh, okay, I'm renting an apartment but I decide not to go to work because, oh, I don't want to. I'm superior to everybody there, and they're all beneath me. Not necessarily weighing the risk of, I still have to pay my bills and I still have to pay rent, so it's going to eventually end up in eviction. And it's very, very common for a lot of these symptoms to show up before the age of 15. You might start seeing some aggression towards, their peers, aggression towards animals, destruction of property, deceitfulness, theft, and very serious violation of the rules. It's very common for that to happen in school, where while that person is growing up, they're just taking unnecessary risks at school. They're maybe not consistently not putting time towards their schoolwork, and they're not thinking about the consequences of that, or they're maybe acting violently towards their teachers or their peers, and nobody's really understanding why. This isn't every case, but there is a chance that there could be some traits leading to some level of antisocial personality disorder. And like I said, Charles Manson, Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy is another one. Those are very well-known criminals that either show traits or were at some point, whether it be before or after their crimes were committed, diagnosed with sociopathy or antisocial personality disorder. And I will be doing a video on both Ted Bundy and Charles Manson shortly.